Hello, Julie Bartkus here, along with my co-host, Michael Tasner. We'd like to welcome you to Get Connected. How's it going, Michael?
Everything is going pretty well. It's been a busy week. Kids are back to school here, but all is well. All is well.
I don't know about you, but it feels a little bit like a Monday to me.
Still,
even though it's a Wednesday, it feels like a Monday.
definitely is a weird week, it seems. It's definitely a weird week.
Yeah. And today in Chicagoland, we were in Kentucky for the weekend where it was like 90 degrees and we were canoeing, and come back to Chicagoland and it's like 60 here. And then the internet keeps going out today. So it's been a little bit of a crazy ride.
Very cool. Very
cool.
Yeah.
And if you're here tuning in, I know you probably missed us last week and we might be a little sporadic over the next couple of weeks. We both have some trainings going on and some different things happening with clients, but we are delighted to bring you this show. And we would love to hear from you. So if you're here, say hello. Let us know how your long weekend was. Was it long enough or did it seem too short? So we'd love to hear from you. And today we're going to be talking about letting go. And I thought this topic would be just really impactful. I've been dealing a lot with my clients about letting go of old energy so that you can really move forward into this place of abundance with your staff and with your clients. But I know sometimes that act of letting go in and of itself is crazy hard. So is this a topic that you relate to, Michael?
It definitely is. And I think mine is just a little bit, it's a similar topic, but just in a different context where we're having a lot of challenges where centers haven't done or had to do any marketing, and they have that mentality. So it's really tough from a marketing standpoint then to kind of get the needle moving, get things rolling if their mentality is, well, it's never worked, or I've never had to do marketing, or I think I should just have a wait list and a line around the block constantly because there's just this need for childcare. So that's the topic that I probably hear a lot more, but it's the same thing from an
I was going to say, I think it's the same thing because it's letting go of energy, right? And letting go of old mindset so that you can embrace the new. And there's an old saying, and I know we usually end with a quote, but there's a quote that says that you can't get to where you want to go the same way you got to where you are. Something along those lines, right? So, it's like, well, we've arrived in this place because we've done this, and this, and this, and this, but here's where you want to go, and you're not going to get there implementing the same strategy, the same formula. It doesn't work. I've tried it, and I know it's like something new, something different, something that challenges you and stretches you is required and needed.
Couldn't agree with you more.
And when I also think about letting go too, I think about the energy that's not serving you, but that happens with clients and with staff. So I'm curious, if you're tuning in, let us know. Is there any time where you got fired from as being a customer from someplace where they're like, oh, you're no longer welcome here? And I'm going to share with you my story. And I don't know if Michael's got anything like that, but there are people who freely let us go all the time, whether it's from a relationship, whether it's from a service we were using, whatever it might be. And chances are they don't think twice or three times about us. But I know that I was doing some intensive work with a group of owners last week, which is why we didn't have the show. But, one of the big topics, and we probably could have spent 3 days on it in itself, was just hanging on to this old energy of, maybe it was staff who didn't work out, or we thought that maybe there was something else we could have done to save them or to save the relationship. And the same thing happens with clients, but there's people who are holding on to energy, and even staff do this, which is why we could get into such dysfunction in our childcare programs in the work setting. But people hang on to old energy sometimes for a year, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and they're still thinking about the same old situation.
Definitely. No, I think this is definitely a timely topic. I'm not sure about you, but a lot of the centers that we're working with, they're kind of back in session if they didn't have kind of a summer break. So usually September tends to be, for a lot of centers, kind of a kickoff month. I know most centers are enrolling year round, but September usually is just one of those months. So definitely has been interesting just to kind of gauge how things are going, what the owner is seeing, what the directors are seeing and hearing and feeling. And But yeah, I definitely agree that this is a timely conversation that I think will help a lot of our listeners.
Yeah, I think so. I think so too. Yeah. So if you're here tuning in and letting go is one of your issues, please share with us. Let us know whether you're tuning in live or to the replay. We'd love to help you out with this. So, Michael, has there ever been anybody who kind of freely, and this might be us being vulnerable and transparent here, but is there anybody who you've come across in your lifetime who's just easily and freely let you go?
That's a great question. I mean, I think I probably come back to it more just with clients, to be honest with you. I know that you and I both provide insanely valuable services to the marketplace, and are just really able to help transform the lives of the people that we work with. And I think it's been, Amanda, where I see your question, so I'll make sure that we reply to that as well. But I think it's just realizing that sometimes that you're just easily not replaced, but just like it's so easy how things are, I guess, forgotten at times. So if you go in and you produce just insane results, I mean, hundreds of thousands of dollars, or in this particular case, millions of dollars in revenue. So from a ROI standpoint, I mean, it was just completely through the roof. And then you just find almost out of nowhere, when the times get tough, that you're kind of dropped like a bad habit, as I like to say. And so it's definitely been interesting, because as you were starting this conversation talking about energy, I think a lot of that, personally speaking, I mean, just sticks with me. So it's always hard to like let go personally of some of those things where you kind of not necessarily hold a grudge, but I think that it also then is affecting other aspects of business.
Yeah. And I think you can visualize anything that energetically pulls at you. So if you think about past clients or relationships, and think about how much it stung to be let go of, like perhaps maybe there was a girl that you really liked in high school or something, and she didn't like you back, and you just kind of had to let go of it. And I know the same thing has happened with me too, where there's a guy in school you liked. So letting go from a very early age can be really tough, but every time you hang on to something, or you've even got these old memories of something, it's like these energetic strings, and they're attached from, you could think of it from your belly button to the person or to the situation, right? So you got all these strings, and the more strings that you have pulling at you, weigh your center down. And then it's like you can't really be free with the energy to create and step into the business that you desire, because you're being weighed down by all these things. And that's true with staff, that's true with clients. So we've got to start taking a scissors and cutting away at some of these strings and releasing things, so that we're able to just embrace and step into a brand new energy. Because all the things that happened in our past, they don't define, what we're capable of doing in the future. And so many of us get stuck in that place thinking about past situations and, occurrences with different people, where it was like, oh gosh, that says I'm not worthy. And I think that's one of the biggest mindset shifts that we all need to be making, is that we are so worthy of the success that we desire, but we've got to let go of the energy. And I want to share a little story just too about one time when my son, Mason, was going to the dentist. He just started a job at Jewel, and he was really excited about his job, but we had a series of dental appointments lined up, and Mason started missing them. And I think he missed number 3, and I called the dentist to reschedule. And every time I called, we rescheduled, but I called on time number 3, and the receptionist told me, well, they will no longer take you as a client. He says, Mr. Dentist will no longer take you as a client. I forgot his name, but he says, he's got a very strict policy. And if you miss 3 times, I'm like, yes, but I called to reschedule. They're like, it doesn't matter. That's his policy. And he doesn't work with people who miss more than so many times. I'm like, wow, I was just fired from my dentist. So it took me a little bit of, to let go from that. But I'm like, so if you have any experiences like that and you're tuning in, let us know, because, letting go or being let go of, it all hurts a little bit. It stings a little bit, because you're, in a way, the back of your mind's going, oh, so I'm not as good as that person because they just said, bye-bye, see you later.
We had a question that is a little bit related, in my opinion, but not necessarily. So The question is around kind of, I'd like to know if taking over an additional home daycare that's at capacity would be a good business move. My income in home daycare is doing very well, but I'm also working 2 other jobs. So the interesting thing with this particular question, in my opinion, is I think it comes back to a lot with mindset and kind of what your strategies are. What are the, not even goals, but we've talked a lot about what vision and what do you want to see happen. And I think that's just something that I've really been seeing a lot of the last couple of months. Of anytime anything is challenging, a lot of owners, they kind of get lost in their ways. And I know that, Julie, you do a lot with obviously coaching and mindset and things like that. And I think a lot of people have been nervous to make decisions and to kind of move forward or move past something, or I mean, whatever that block is. One of the blocks, again, that I see all the time is that I feel like a lot of childcare centers are like allergic to investing money in marketing. Like they've got this mental block that it's they should be full, and they have an in-demand product and service, which you definitely do, but there's always those blocks. So I guess the way that I would answer this question around taking over another home daycare is really just going back to the strategy. I talked many episodes ago about what I call kind of a painted picture, and seeing if that aligns with where you want to take your life and where you want to take your business. And most of the people that we work with that have a home daycare, usually the goal is one of 2 things. Either they want to kind of keep that home daycare profitable, and they kind of they usually built it out of not typically necessity for income, but rather they wanted to have their son or daughter at home and being able to have them, and then also make a little bit of extra cash on the side as well. So there's either that strategy, or the other one is that usually then they want to grow into a physical location where you have your first location. So I would challenge you to look back at, what does your vision look like? Do you have that painted picture? If not, I'd love to see you get that in black and white to really see what's going to speak to you the most. It's what's going to get you the most excited. And I'm definitely seeing a lot of variations with the centers that we work with right now. And a lot of them are either they're seeing this as the biggest opportunity that they've ever had with acquisitions and growth and things like that. Or I'm seeing the flip side where they're thinking or seeing that this is the biggest potential downside that they might have in history.
Right.
But I'd love to hear if you had any thoughts on that one as well. But I thought it tied back into some of the stuff that we've been talking about.
And what's her first name?
I don't know if this is their first name, but it says Amador Family Child Care.
Okay. All right. I was hoping there was a person I could address on this, but I agree with Michael. I mean, the biggest thing you got to look at is, what is it that I desire? And your desires fuel your vision. So you got to think about, what is it that you really and truly desire? And then you move forward, taking actions to cultivate that image, cultivate that picture. And that all needs to be in alignment with what your vision is. So if now you got, what'd you say, one center or one home program wanting to buy another home program, and 2 jobs, that's a lot. That's to me, that's a lot. So, and that doesn't mean that you shouldn't do it. It just means, what are you going to let go of? Because I don't think it's humanly possible to be doing all of those different things and putting all of your creative energy into all these different things that are going on. And some of the biggest mindset masters say, really focus on one thing and become obsessed with that one thing until you're incredibly successful with it, and then incorporate other things. And if you're anything like me, if you're tuning in, it's the monkey mind. It's like, okay, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to do a t-shirt line, and I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to start helping other, whatever it might be. And so I know how it goes. But what you have to ask yourself is, what are the things that I'm doing that are depleting my energy the most? And can I give those up? So can I stop doing certain things so that I could really fuel my desires? with this vision for the greater thing of what I want. And if you start really having some incredible enthusiasm for that thing that you really want without the other things energetically dragging you down, right, being those cords attached to your belly button, then can you move forward in bigger and greater ways and really cultivate something absolutely amazing. So I would be asking yourself, well, what is it that I really desire? And what is it that I'm doing in my life right now that drains my energy? And identify maybe the top 3 to 5 things that you could start letting go of so that you've got more energy to bring this to life. But when you're asking us the question, to me, that means that there's a little bit of a doubt there, or a little bit of something that's going, well, should I be doing this? And that's where it's going to come back to you deciding, does it line up with your vision? And is it truly a desire, something that you're going to wake up so excited about in the morning that you're going to fight for it tooth and nail? Because if it's not, it becomes really hard. And then the goals become really forced. Does that make sense?
No, definitely. No, that was really, really well said. And I think the other thing that I've experienced personally in the past, and also with a lot of people that I've worked with, there's nothing wrong with kind of dipping your toes at being kind of an entrepreneur, business owner, and also having a job as well.
Right. Nothing wrong with it.
But to me, at some point, depending on what your goals are, you're going to have to make a decision at some point. And there are some people that they are far more better off being an employee or a team member at someone else's organization, where they kind of have, I guess, I wouldn't even call it a stable paycheck anymore, but I mean, at least some kind of stable income where you're not having to, I guess, worry about some of the things that business owners have to deal with on a day-to-day basis. But it to me often kind of comes to a crossroad. I mean, there are probably 20 centers that we work with now that I know for a fact that one of the owners, if it's one owner or multi-owners, that they're also working another job. And it kind of looks at, or at least I look at it, what's the trade-off of doing that?
Yeah.
And unless to me it's a job that you're just like madly in love with, usually the reason that they're typically working that job is because they have not been able to financially afford to go all in on your childcare center.
Right.
And I've been looking at and kind of analyzing the numbers. I just did this with the center a day or two ago of kind of looking at, I mean, top line and bottom line and how much they were paying themselves. They were paying themselves, and the top line was just a little bit under $1 million. And they made a small amount of profit. But the owner was only paying themselves $30,000 a year. I was saying, okay, well, I mean, what do we have to do to get it where you've got a wage that you can live on so that you don't have to continue working another job? Because when you started to kind of unpeel those layers of the onion, start to realize that, well, there were certain growth opportunities that you had to pass up because you weren't able to do this with also having a job, or you lost some good staff members because they didn't feel that you were present, because you would always sit in the office with the door closed because you were on conference calls all day long for your other position. So I'm not saying that it's not doable. I have danced both of those lines a few times in my past. And it was nice to have, I guess, income from a job and also income from a business. But when I really started doing some soul searching and really kind of analyzing, and I felt like I was doing myself a disservice where I wasn't going all in. I just listened to a video from Tony Robbins this morning, huge Tony Robbins fan, and he was like, what's the best, when I'm trying to think the right way that he phrased it, but it's the mentality of burn the boats. He's like, how do you take the islands? Well, you burn the boats, and you don't have a plan B. You don't have
you take all other options away.
Exactly.
Right.
And it's, again, I'm not saying that's going to work for everyone, but I think there's a lot of center owners that they're towing that line, and they're not going all in on themselves.
Yeah.
And there's always reasons why, and usually in my experience, it's been the financial reasons where they're saying, well, I can't afford to not have this job because my center doesn't pay me enough, or I don't make enough profit, or in a lot of cases I've seen the center was losing money. But those are obviously deeper business challenges and things like that you want to take a look at. But as Julie had said, it all really starts with, getting that vision for your future. What does that look like? What do you want it to look like? so that you can then start to see things materialize all around you.
Yeah. And if you've got one toe in and one toe out, chances are, the starting place is going to be your mindset. Going all in, that's a mindset shift, to be willing to trust the universe, to trust God, whoever it is, that you connect with, but to really trust that you're given your desire for a reason. You are. And if the resources weren't here for you to fulfill that desire, to fulfill that vision, you wouldn't be able to have the idea or the inkling or, those things pop up inside of your head, right? So it's given to you for a reason, because it's giving you cues that, hey, what you desire is possible. And here's the way. And right now we're doing some redesigning on one of our websites. I'm like, I can't see how this whole thing's going to play out. And it frustrates me. But what I discovered when I walk through steps 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, it's kind of like the next steps are given to me. So it's like you got to have courage to take those steps towards what you want and not worry about the how. When you start thinking about the how, that's like you're going to start spiraling downward with your thoughts. You got to keep your focus on the why and let go, since we're talking about letting go of the how. And if you are sitting in a place where it's like, do I do this? Do I do that? Do I invest in marketing? What is it that you need to let go of? Because those are the insecurities, those are the self-doubts that are saying, hey, it's not possible. And you're feeding into those, and what you focus on expands. So you really want to keep your focus on, you know what? I'm getting this desire for a reason. This is showing up in my world right now because I am meant to bring it to life. And that's the beauty of it. And that's the beauty of what can go on inside of your head too, where there's a whole other side. So if you're experiencing fear, doubt, worry, anxiety, and stress, there's a whole opposite side of the equation that's totally possible and right there within your reach. And Michael and I want to help you grab it and bring it to life.
Love it. We've got a question from Steve. So Steve's question is, love the topic of letting go. I feel like I have a few staff members I need to let go of. Any thoughts on how you would tackle this?
Yeah.
I'll let you go first, since this is kind of your area of expertise. I'll give some insights on kind of what I've done personally speaking, but I would love your thoughts there, because I know you work a lot with staff.
Yeah, and actually we just put up a training series too that you could grab at my website. We actually got something on there from Michael too that we're giving as a gift right now. But if you sign up for one of our free membership, we're going to give you a Staff to Motivator series at childcarebusinesssuccess.com. And there's something from Michael too, so that we could link you back to him. But when it comes to firing staff, it's really important to ask yourself a couple questions. Number one, is this person coachable? Have you done everything you can to coach this person? And there's a couple criteria that you can look at when it comes to, is this person coachable or not? But number two, have you done your due diligence as a manager in terms of helping coach this person to get to the next level? Now, if you have somebody who is just, insubordinate, they're not listening, you confront them many times, you have it documented, most states are employers at will. So you could easily say, hey, you know what? You're fired, I let go. And you're going to have a fear, because you say, well, who's going to replace that person? And that's where we really have to tap into our ability to manifest people when we need them, which is totally possible. But when it comes to, do I fire them or not fire them? Are they coachable? And have you done everything to try to coach the person? And number two, have you done your due diligence as a manager? So have you sat down with them? Have you had a one-on-one? Have you documented specifically what you need to see them do more of or differently, and then sign off on a plan of action? You sign, that person signs, and you're like, okay, over the next 15 days, this is specifically what I want to see from you. I need to see you greeting your coworkers in the morning with a happy hello. I need you to pay a compliment to, 3 parents today, whatever it might be, but you document those things and you both agree on the plan of action. And most people want to skip this step because they haven't worked the other steps and having regular meetings with people, documenting behaviors, and continuously working on performance. So it's really our opportunity to not only motivate and inspire the children in our care as a childcare owner or director, but also to motivate and inspire the adults who work for us. And you can truly be the best boss people have worked for, even if we have to let them go, because sometimes we have to let our people go so they can grow, and they might grow, but not under your leadership. So you've got to be able to recognize the difference in terms of when do I coach and when is it time just to let go and release. And that's typically with a plan of action with very specific steps outlined, and you sign off, the person signs off, and then you get back together to discuss progress.
Love it. What's interesting, I was having a conversation with a team member earlier today, and so we brought them on board, and they haven't been with us for that long, but they're already leaving. And my initial reaction was I was a little bit ticked off, and I'm like, geez, we just onboarded this person. It's only been, I don't know, 5-6 months, and kind of trained them and kind of got into that rhythm. And I took a step back and I started realizing that, and one of my earlier mentors told me this, that he was grateful for whatever time he got to spend with any of his team. So whether that was he had you working with him for a day, for a week, a month, a year, 10 years, whatever it was, that he promised 2 things. Number one, that you would leave a more well-rounded, I guess, executive / team member. Mm-hmm. And B, that you would leave with new life experiences, regardless of how long it was. And what I realized, and kind of just took a step back of how I was approaching people either leaving, whether I had to let them go or the other way around, it just puts things into a really unique perspective that it's going to sting initially, and it's not going to be easy you can't just magically replace them with someone. But what I've always found is when, and I know you've said this, Julie, anyways, but I mean, when one door closes, another door opens. So I've always found that if someone either leaves or if I have to let someone go, that I realize that it was the right decision on either side. And as long as you have that vision and you continue to take those strategic actions towards that vision each and every day, you're going to wind up better off in the long haul. It's just that whole notion of owning a business. It's never, a straight line. I mean, if you look at 2020, for example, it's been, one of the biggest roller coasters, at least personally speaking, probably the number 1 or number 2 biggest roller coasters of my career. And it's probably for most of you that are listening as well. But if you start to really just reframe, as Julie said, kind of how you're looking at these situations, it really just puts things into a completely different perspective.
Oh yeah. And it's going to start with your mindset, and kudos to you, Michael, for thinking about it differently and thinking about how are they leaving me? And it's so true, and what if people are showing up in your life and leaving you, whether it's after a day, which I know has happened in many of our childcare programs, or, after a week or after a month, but what if people show up in your life and leave so that you get the lesson and you get the growth of how to let go? Because what we work with our clients on is really, just being able to open your arms out wide, saying, I always attract amazing people, because so often we'll focus on the energy that's leaving as opposed to the energy that's coming. And when we focus on the energy that's leaving, we're going to miss out on the energy that so badly wants to come our way. And by energy, I mean people and situations that will serve you. And it is so there right within your grasp. It's right on the other side of somebody leaving is somebody coming. Now, what we have to do is hone in our ability to get higher levels of energy to come and come and come and come, so we don't have these repeating patterns of now somebody's leaving, now somebody's leaving, now somebody's leaving. But let's attract the people who are going to stay. So I think what you said was really brilliant.
Love it.
Yeah.
We've got another question here around letting go. So this question is from Samantha, and Samantha says, I recently put in a bid to buy 3 centers. I have 2 currently, and I lost the bid to a competitor that, in my opinion, has sub-stair childcare. How would you get over something like this? How do you let go? I find myself thinking about it every day. That's a good question. That's a good question. you want me to tackle it first, or do you want me to throw it to you?
What do you prefer?
I'll throw, a couple of insights.
Okay, go ahead.
It's very
Go ahead, and then I'll give you my insights.
it's very similar to what I just shared. I have always found that when one door closes, another door opens. And I can tell you that there are a lot of centers that we're working with that are putting in bids for acquisitions, that are trying to acquire, that they're just trying to do whatever they can to grow in this type of economy, in this type of environment. And give you one example of a center that I know for a fact they had a really competitive bid that they lost. And then like a week and a half later, then all of a sudden there is a block of like 5 or 6 centers, and
Awesome.
they're now the front runner. So, I definitely believe in the law of attraction. One of my favorite movies from way back when was The Secret. And it initially didn't click until you really started to leverage the methodologies in The Secret and manifesting and starting to see things start to show up. But I personally have found that the more I look at the vision document, the more that I read the vision document, the more that I internalize it, things just start to happen. And I know, Julie, you've seen this and with yourself, with your businesses, with the clients that you work with. It's really about, if I'm very clear on where I'm headed and what I want to see happen. I'll give you a perfect example. We are 50+% off from the growth goal that I wanted to see this year. And we may actually finish down from where we were at the end of last year. So our goal was actually to double from where we were last year by the end of this year. And not only are we not on track for that goal, we're on track to not even do as well as we did in 2019. And initially, I was like, oh my God, this is like ridiculous. And I could easily blame it on COVID, which a lot of people are doing.
Yeah.
But then when I just started to think about the vision, then other things just start to pop up. Other ideas start to pop up. It really, you have to let go of that attachment to the outcome. Once you start to let go of that attachment, things just started happening. So now there's another acquisition that I'm looking at as we speak. And it wouldn't necessarily get me to where I wanted to go initially. It would take me on that path as one of the next stepping stones. And I could easily be just thinking about all the negatives and, oh, geez, this is terrible and our revenue's down, et cetera, et cetera. Or I can just continue to refresh the vision, look at that vision document, and start to put my place in a position where I can receive things.
Yeah.
And if you're not willing and able to receive, you could your energy is not going to be open to receive those things. And that was my little ramble on that. But
yeah, and I think that's really good. And I think that there's a lot of truth in what you said. And I really encourage people to come back and listen to a lot of these pieces of wisdom, because I find that repetition, especially when you're working with mindset issues, is really the key to success, right? It's not just about hearing the words once and then saying, okay, I got it, and then there's something wrong with me if I don't got it. It's about hearing it over and over and over and over again. But I understand it's painful to have to let go. And in this situation, there's a lot of thoughts that are going through your mind about the other company not being as good, about why you missed out on this opportunity. And I know I've had to let go of a lot of things in my life. I'm widowed, I'm divorced, then widowed. And all of it hurts when there's like, oh, well, this isn't here for me, because there's a lot of excitement that you put into thinking that this is going to happen, and you get really excited about it. But I want you to challenge yourself to ask yourself a couple questions. Was this thing what you really wanted? Was this what I really wanted? Or were there some pieces of it that just weren't right that you were willing to accept, and to accept less than? Right? So you were willing to make some compromises, like, oh, this isn't necessarily what I really wanted, but it's really close, and this is what I think it is. If there are pieces of it that weren't perfect, you've got to know that there is something bigger and better just waiting to knock at your door. But the sooner you release it, the sooner you're going to see the new thing that's there for you. When you hang on to the old, you're just going to see more pieces of the old, or some pretty good dysfunction when you move forward with whatever it is that you're going to be attracting. So to me, it's like, was this in its entirety what I really wanted? Or were there pieces of this that were only substandard, maybe pieces of what I didn't want? So ask yourself that question. And then the biggest thing that you can do to take the sting out of the situation, because there's a lot of thoughts and there's a lot of different mental practices that I have, from blessing situations to releasing. I release it. But if you can shift your mindset to a place of gratitude, to me, that is the easiest and most transformative thought process to really let go and to move on. Whether you're doing this with staff, or you lost out on a bid, or maybe it was something else, a family you really wanted to enroll, but it's to be able to shift to a place of gratitude and find something in the situation that you can be grateful for. And the sooner that you can shift to that place of gratitude is going to be the sooner that you attract that new situation that's going to serve you way better than you could have ever imagined. It's probably going to totally blow you away, but it's going to be the sooner that you're able to see that. So what can you be grateful for? Maybe there was a lesson that you learned that's going to help you be more successful with the next bid. Maybe there's something else that you can be grateful for. Maybe it's being grateful knowing how amazing of a childcare program you have, being grateful that more children are going to be impacted by this building existing in and of itself. So find things that you can be grateful for in the situation, and that takes away the pain and propels you to more of a mindset of prosperity. And I hope that helps, because I know how it is to sit in the pain of like, I had it, now it's gone. And it can hurt.
Hi, and that was a great point, Julie. This next question, I think you just answered that one as well. It's what would you do as a first step to move in the right direction? And I think Julie answered that, of coming from a place of gratitude.
Yeah.
And it's, again, I mean, these are insane times. Things are not easy. The economy is changing daily. COVID's changing daily. Parents' mindsets are like, everything's changing on a regular basis. However, if you really come from that place of gratitude, and I have to smack myself sometimes, personally speaking, like it's like I'm a watch fanatic. I love watches. And like I was complaining the other day that I wanted one particular watch, but I just thought it was too expensive. And I'm like, I've got like 150 watches, like a ridiculous amount of watches. And I mean, they're not all Rolexes or anything like that by any means. Most of them are like $100 or $200. But it's like, but then I took a step back and said, I'm grateful for even having one watch. And it changes your mindset substantially when you start to come from a place of gratitude.
And there's an old saying that success is a journey, right? I think I got a theme dice here that I use, and it's really up to us to enjoy the journey. And every single time we could switch it to like we're regretting the journey on, or we're upset about the journey, whatever it might be, then it's gonna be like, oh well, maybe this isn't the right journey. But the more you have gratitude, and this is really important, write this down. Everybody write this down. The more you have gratitude, the more gratitude you express in life, the more things the universe is going to give you to be thankful for. So what you focus on expands, right? So if you just start giving gratitude and you pull out a list and you just start writing down, and at first it's going to be hard, because this is a muscle that you build. It's like, how do I be grateful for a staff member who came and I spent $10,000 training them and then they left me? How do I be grateful for that? But the quicker you can change it to gratitude is the quicker you're going to start experiencing a true transformation that's going to like blow you out of the water with the dreams of yours that you're able to bring to life. So gratitude journal. Yep.
That Julie recommended like 2 months ago that I bought 30 copies and sent them to some clients. And I will tell you, not every day I start with gratitude. And I will tell you that my energy is just different if I don't. I find myself complaining more, or like I'm the firefighter today. And I don't know, I just find that when I have a more, not even productive, but a better morning routine, start gratitude, you're doing your priming. So I've been listening to like 10-minute YouTube videos of just kind of kickstart your morning, and not checking emails in the morning and take your
Good
vitamins.
strategy.
Hey, exactly. One of my first mentors, Matthew Ferry, said it's all about taking your meds, meditation, exercise, diets, and gosh, what was the last one? Take your meds, meditation, exercise, diet, and oh, geez, now I'm already blanking on the last
Sleep.
one.
No.
Sleep. No, it is actually sleep.
It is
Thank you.
sleep.
Yeah. And it was sleep. So it's like, you got to take your meds every day. And
Yeah.
similar kind of thing with the mornings, if you kind of get into that morning routine. I know you've got a solid morning routine, Julie, that you've got to prime your day for success. You've got to prime your day for your energy, and energy management right now is everything. When you can't control chaos all around you, you've got to manage what you can manage, and that is your energy. You can manage how you show up. You can manage how your vision looks.
Yeah. I agree. And there's so many people who go to bed at night in this industry, and probably lots of industries right now. And maybe you're sleeping very light and you're not getting good night's sleep, and you start waking up thinking about everything that's going on. And maybe you've got some techniques that you use, like writing things down or recording it, whatever it might be. But one of the things that I found to be really helpful is that this is an amazing time to express gratitude. And I don't let my feet touch the floor in the morning, because when I'm waking up, I am laying there just looking around me, thanking the universe for everything that's in my life. Thank you for the pond. Thank you for the trees. Thank you for the leaves. Thank you for the bugs in the leaves. I mean, I break it down to like the tiniest little thing I could be thankful for, the spider, whatever it might be. I mean, how cool is it that we get to experience that in this lifetime? So I'm laying there, and if I wake up at night and I'm thinking about a project or a website or whatever it might be, I switched my mindset to gratitude. I said, okay, you're doing it. You're doing it. I catch myself doing it, right? You know what doing it is, right? It means that you're thinking about the things that are going to lead you down, this spiral, this rabbit hole of negative thought. So you catch yourself doing it. That's the first thing. A lot of people are walking around on a very subconscious level, not even really realizing why they're in this mental funk, not even realizing the thoughts that they're thinking. So the first thing you got to do is really catch yourself. Right? Catch yourself and know, like, oh my gosh, I'm thinking about that other son, or now I'm thinking about the other person who got that bid. Now I'm thinking about the staff who are leaving. Catch yourself and go, oh, wait a second, I just caught myself. And then sometimes I will get up and I will move to a different physical space, saying, okay, caught myself. Now it's time for me to transform it, because you can't transform without awareness. Awareness has to come before the transformation. So you get the awareness that you have to shift this, then you're able to decide, okay, well, what could I do instead? Well, I could lay here, and I could do that because I'm not sleeping, but I'm just going to start thinking about all the things that I'm grateful for, and let that start transforming your whole person. And it's the energy behind the intent that gets you the action. So it's really so important to shift your energy, especially if you want greater and bigger results in your life. And I do this with my boyfriend, and or if there's a time where we're feeling disconnected, I'm like, oh, well, let's do our gratitude list. But I look at him and I start saying everything I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for you being there for me for this. I'm grateful for you this. I'm grateful for you this. I'm grateful for you this. I'm like, why was I upset? There's so many things to be grateful for. And he'll do the same thing. And we'll go back and forth with gratitudes. And it's like, oh, okay. I feel appreciated. I feel recognized. I feel all these different things that I wasn't feeling before. And was it because he said some things? Well, maybe. But a lot of it's because I started having this awareness of, oh, I was focusing on all the wrong things. Oh, you're still muted, Michael.
Rookie mistake that
I'm working on reading lips.
Rookie mistake. I was typing to a few of our listeners here some more personalized questions that Julie and I can go back and answer. So this has been a fun episode. I know we had a quote earlier, but I think we want to maybe continue this on our next call, and maybe bring in a little bit more of maybe we have a little segment called Letting Go, and we work that into this segment. But I've got a lot out of this personally, just thinking about things, and some really great questions as well. I know we always like to give quotes, but before we do that, I know that you've got some fun things kind of in the mix on your side. So tell people a little bit about kind of what you're up to, and I know you still have the wonderful line of T-shirts and mugs.
Always essential gear. Yep.
Tell us a bit more about kind of what you're up to.
Yeah. So if you're interested in any of our Always Essential gear, go to happychildcareteam.com. But one of the things that I've been working on, I was in an intensive training last week, and we're picking up again next week, where we're doing like a 5-day to transforming your team, which really got me back on the kick to go like, oh my goodness, I have so many valuable resources on our website at childcarebusinesssuccess.com. So I decided to bring some of those resources out and have them be totally free. All you have to do is activate a free membership. And right now on the site, there's some free done for you social media from Mr. Michael Tasner, who made that available as a gift. And we're going to be bringing some of that out so that you can reuse some of the past ones that he's done for us to benefit you. So that will save you a lot of time and a lot of money and give you something to put on Facebook that's probably positive and inspiring. So that's available through this free membership. And also one of the things that is really the heart and soul of what I do is I've been researching childcare teams and workplace transformation for over 20 years. And there's a lot of self-transformation, obviously, that I've been through too. But I've identified 20 to 30 different things that are hot things that really demotivate your staff. So if you are feeling the pain of not having a cohesive, enthusiastic, motivated team in place, and you would like free access to this membership portal to where you can access, it's like a 30-part training I did. And they're short little segments that reveal to you what these 20 to 30 things are that demotivate your staff in the workplace. All you have to do is go to childcarebusinesssuccess.com and sign up for a free membership, and you'll have immediate access and can start working through it.
Love it.
How about you, Michael?
I mean, we're focused on revenue growth. I mean, that's been the main objective of all these centers that we've been working with. We onboarded quite a few centers in the month of August, onboarding some more in September. So our focus is revenue. So if you're looking for revenue growth, in particular enrollments, we offer a guaranteed enrollments. There's no other agency on the planet
guaranteed
that literally will guarantee you enough enrollments to cover whatever you're investing from a marketing standpoint. So we've just launched we used to do guaranteed leads, and leads are great. But we found that a lot of centers were not great at working the leads and calling back fast enough and working the script. So to not only put some more accountability on the center side, but also on our side, we pivoted that to we will guarantee you enrollments. So as always, if we can be of any help, localchildcaremarketing.com. So I hope you guys enjoy.
Pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Guaranteed.
Yeah, definitely. Results. Yeah, we just started doing it. Working really well so far. It changes the conversations. It makes us a lot more like in the past. At times we've been seen as kind of a lead generator, which is fine. But we really, at this kind of time, we need to be seen as a partner, and in particular, a revenue partner. If you need more revenue, that's what we focus on. So,
absolutely, yeah, that's fantastic.
Very cool.
Sure, y'all go and see Michael.
Definitely, and the same with Julie. So between the both of us, we've got your backs covered.
We've got
everything that you could possibly need.
Yeah.
So I know you gave a quote earlier. Did you want to end with one more quote? I know we tend to end these with another quote.
I could think of one, or do you have one?
Oh, I can. Let me pull one up from I started using a really great tool called Notion. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but Notion.so.
Notion.so.
Just an incredible tool. So we use a project management software called Teamwork, but I've been using this Notion tool to organize my life. Nice. More kind of just tracking, kind of vision board stuff, just a lot of really good stuff. I'm going to give it's a little bit generic, but it's one of the quotes that I always like. It's be the reason that someone smiles today.
Aww.
And it goes for, your staff, your team, your family, your spouse, your kids, whatever it is. There's so much uncertainty going around. And if you keep your mindset on point, and that's what today was about, if you let go of that bad energy and just move yourself into a good state, you'll be shocked of all of the things that will just start to happen.
Yeah. And just remember that regardless of what you feel you lost or what you miss out on or who's leaving you or whatever it might be, to me, especially after my husband passed away, life became about two different things. And I think it always has for me, but it deepened. It was about love and lessons. How deeply can I love and how much can I learn in the process? And if you could keep that in mind, like, what did I learn from the situation? And now how do I go and love more with what I'm doing going forward? I think it's going to serve you very well. And you're going to have so many things to be really grateful for. So really proceed and go forward with your situations, looking for the things to be grateful for, because when you look and you start building that muscle, you're going to see more and more and more and more and more. Somebody's going to quit on you, an hour after you hired them. And you're going to be able to find the gratitude in that. And that is life-changing.
Love it. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. We will be back at you possibly next week, maybe the week after, but we will keep doing as much content as we possibly can. Like it, share it, throw some more questions, and we'll get back to you as well. So have a wonderful rest of your day, wonderful rest of your week.
Yes.
Catch you all soon. Bye.